Okay, the first slaves that entered the land that would soon be Arkansas came in about around the 1720s or so, and they came in around the Arkansas River. In the 1860s, there were over 100,000 slaves in the Arkansas state area. Enslaved people were held involuntarily by their owners. They were limited from freedom. They were limited from liberty because they were controlled by a certain group of usually white groups, white owners. And the slaves played major roles in both Arkansas when it was a territory and Arkansas when it became an actual state. So slave owners would live in small cabins, very small log houses, separated from their white owners who usually lived in nicer establishments. These slaves would live in like houses that were possibly had no windows, no doors, and they had dirty floors, dirt floors, and things like that. And in Phillips County in the 1860s, there were about 15,000 slaves in just this one county. But on the other hand, when we're talking about slaves in Arkansas to slaves in other states, Arkansas did better than most. When we look at other southern states and how many slaves they had in the 1860s compared to the 100,000 or so Arkansas had, it puts things into perspective. So we look at Georgia. Georgia had over 400,000 slaves. We look at Alabama. Alabama had over 400,000 slaves. We look at Louisiana, they had over 300,000 slaves. We look at Mississippi, they had 430,000 slaves. 55% of Mississippi's population was slaves. And we look at South Carolina, 57% of their population was slaves, over 400,000 slaves there also. And Tennessee had almost 300,000 slaves. So when we put things into perspective, Arkansas actually had a lot fewer slaves than most states had during the 1860s.